nothing like me and you. I'm not alone. Tell me you feel it too, and I would run away. I would run away. Yeah, yeah. I would run away. I would run away with you.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of 48 Shades of Football, everyone's favourite English language podcast about the K-League. I'm joined as always by my colleague Paul. How are you today, Paul?
Not too bad. Survived another week. We're now into February, right? So
we are, yes.
We've only got another month to put out these podcasts with not much to talk about.
And then we can put out podcasts with not much to talk about that are longer. Okay, so
this year's going to be. We made New Year's resolutions. This year is going to be different.
Yeah, we're going to. Yeah, it is indeed.
And of course, this is a kind of landmark episode, right?
This is episode 150.
Yep. If you exclude all the red buttons.
Yep.
If you include red buttons, it's like 180 or 90.
Yeah, it's quite a lot, right?
And
we have a special announcement coming up for our 150th episode. Should we announce it on the podcast or on Twitter?
And just to announce also that given the recent environment, we're doing away with our podcast girls. So, did you see they're getting rid of the grid girls in the F1?
I did indeed. Which might explain why there's never been a female on the podcast.
Kelly was on the podcast. My mum was on the podcast.
You know what? I forgot your mum was on the podcast, Chief. Okay. Anyway, enough banter before we begin.
But up to now, every time we move on to another section, we've had a girl parading around our podcast room with a blackboard with it written on. So, yep. K-League Classic or winners and losers, but we're making them redundant.
We are indeed.
Putting them out of work.
So they will no longer be parading around the 48 Shades towers in their bikinis with their chalkboards. There'll be somewhere else instead. Anyway, back to you're wearing green today, Paul. Is that why you chose a rather interesting Irish ditty for the intro music?
That wasn't the thought process. The thought process I went through when I got dressed this morning. Okay,
so we did in fact choose something from that famous Irish band from Dundalk, the Cars.
Yep.
It was for those of you who are not as old as me and Paul, it was Runaway. Also, we should explain that the Cars were actually one guy and his three sisters.
Yep, family band,
which is it's not the same as some of those strange movies like The Waltons and stuff like that, right? So, why did you choose Dundalk band first of all?
FC Seoul played a friendly against Dundalk recently,
which they won 5-0.
Which they almost won 5-0.
If you didn't count the fact they scored no goals and Dundalk scored one.
Yeah.
Okay. So they lost yet again.
Yep.
Which was their fifth friendly without a goal or something?
Fifth in a row without a goal.
Fifth in a row without a goal, yeah.
I think.
So I guess that makes you want to run away before the season, right?
Indeed. But there was better news after that because they played another friendly a couple of days ago.
Okay.
Against Örebro from I think Sweden.
Okay.
Or somewhere in Scandinavia. And in the 89th minute, Park Ji-young stepped up, scored a goal.
Penalty spot?
I don't think it was. I don't know. They didn't put any up to now on the FC Seoul Facebook. They've been religiously putting up sort of match highlights and things like that. And like, who's going to watch highlights of a 1-0 loss to Dundalk? I don't know, but I've not seen anything. They may have put it up. I've been quite busy this week. I didn't see it anyway.
Okay. So. Should be noted that ex Diablo Malky is a big Dundalk fan. He's actually from Dundalk.
Yep.
The game was played in Murcia in Spain.
Yep. So he flew out.
Yeah, he didn't know, but he was wearing his half Dundalk, half FC Seoul top at home. He especially knitted it together just for the game.
Okay.
Dundalk have, in actual fact, been taken over by an American conglomerate.
Okay.
Who are pumping money into the Irish League apart. Well, not the Irish League, but Dundalk. So they have like some 55-year-old Hungarian guy who was playing for them up front, who may or may not have scored the goal.
Ferenc Puskas.
Something like that, yeah. So, not a great pre-season of friendlies for FC Seoul, but I think that's kind of That's the bad part of pre-season over for most Korean teams. I saw Daehan tweeting that, or Instagramming, or both, that pre-season was now, the kind of friendly part of pre-season was now over, and it was back to the gym, back to the training ground.
You know that football fans have very short memories, right? So the day that Seoul beat Orebro 1-0, Suwon Blue Wings lost 4-3 to Ansan. So as far as I'm concerned, we've had a brilliant pre-season. They've had a terrible one. Okay, we're going to win the league.
Well, if there was only you and Suwon Blue Wings in the league.
I also saw
there's other teams.
Just before we move on to other things, I also saw Daehan tweeting that he'd been. Wait, you were staring at me. Tweeting that he'd been libeled, defamed, shall we say?
Misrepresented.
Yeah.
I can neither confirm nor deny, although I took the photograph that I sent to you. Yeah. It would turn out that a certain journalist, let's say, if this was a video, you would see me making the inverted commas around the word journalist, claimed that the podcast that Daehan did with the Asian game was not correct because what Daehan said wasn't accurate or something. Daehan has now accused said journalist of spreading fake news about him, using those exact words. So I don't actually follow the journalist. I don't believe I follow him from either of my multiple Twitter accounts, so I don't really know what's happened since, but I'm fairly certain podcast avid listener Matty Binns will let me know pretty soon, because he seems to be one who keeps up to date and all.
That guy generally seems to have an inside track on what's going on in the K-League, so I don't think it's completely implausible. I guess the truth's somewhere in between, right? Yeah, I mean, it depends on the side of the story that you're being spun, right? For example, if that guy is speaking to FC Seoul are going to want to spin it as being, we offered a contract and he said no. If you speak to the agents and the people who are representing Daehan, they're going to spin it as being, I wasn't offered a contract at all, which is what Daehan himself has personally said. So and in the middle, Kevin translator's completely screwed up again. Yeah, basically, yeah. So in the middle, the translator's like, I don't know what I said. So yeah, I guess we will probably never find the truth, but it's like an X-File. The truth is out there somewhere, but whether we actually ever kind of find out what really happened, I mean, this probably happens a lot more than you actually know. I mean, I'm sure it happens all over kind of football everywhere, right? It's not just in Korea where this thing happens, but I guess because everyone is so fixed or fixated maybe on this transfer, it's kind of like a big deal, right? Anyway, enough talk about pre-season friendlies. Okay. There was actually a proper match this last weekend, Korea versus Latvia.
Well, it was a friendly as well, wasn't it?
Friendly, yeah.
Okay.
Score was 1-0. You want to guess who scored?
I'm going to go with Chewbacca, the rookie himself. Yeah. Again, how many he scored now?
Scored in like 5 consecutive matches or something ridiculous like that.
It's pretty ridiculous, right? Did you watch the game?
I did. It was a very late kickoff.
Someone from the podcast account did. So I don't know who it was.
It was a very late kickoff. I think it kicked off at 11:30 at night. Okay. And I missed the first 15 minutes because my TV was playing up, and fell asleep straight after. So I don't really remember what maybe like to review what our tweets were.
Well, apparently it finished 1-0, as you said. Yep. Korea with plenty of chances, but really lacked the killer instinct. Yep. Hong Cho looked pretty lively.
Oh, that's true.
He came on with 15 minutes to go.
Yeah.
A lot of good running, taking on defenders and some good corners.
Yeah.
Then there's a whole bunch of stuff about some Birmingham player and Sheffield Wednesday. What that's got to do with me with Kim Chinook, I have no idea.
At the same time, Wednesday were getting humped by Birmingham.
Strangely enough, the reason why I didn't watch the Korea game was because Celtic lost 1-0 with Kilmarnock, and I wasn't exactly in a mood for watching football after that. So yeah, almost a disaster for Latvia. Incheon Ho put it by the post. I guess that was old Incheon Ho and not young Incheon Ho.
Yep.
Okay. EJ Sung looked to have had a pretty decent game. And yeah, Kim Chinook put them ahead 1-0. That was it, really. So the rookie, as you said, like 4 or 5 goals in a row or whatever it is, it's been fair play. Augurs well for John Book for the season.
Except he's going to spend most of it soon on the bench, is he not?
You would think so, yeah. I can't imagine the rookie's going to displace Thiago, Adriano or the rookie, right?
So do you take him to the World Cup if he doesn't play that much in the first half of the season?
You keep asking the difficult questions, Paul. It's one of those things that do you take him or not, right? If you don't take him,
who do you take instead?
Who do you take instead? At the end of the day, if you're drawing nothing each against Sweden with 10 minutes left and you bring on a 6'5" guy, he's something to bring on, right? Would I necessarily start him in the World Cup? 100% no. But would I take him to bring him on off the bench? Yeah, definitely.
Well, there's still going to be like maybe 4 or 5 more friendlies before the World Cup actually starts. So I guess he'll get a couple more opportunities to show what he's made of. Yep. Right, what else is there to talk about?
This week sees the beginning, or next week, sorry, sees the beginning of the ACL group stages.
Yep.
Obviously, we have the group stages in the east and the group stages in the west. I guess the only one that really concerns us are obviously the Korean teams in the group stages. So we'll take you through those first round games.
Yep. Do
our predictions for them.
Yep.
So first up, let's have a look at. So we have basically Ulsan. So Ulsan are in the group with Melbourne, Kawasaki, and Shanghai East Asia, who could have been something else last year. No idea what they were called last year. Is that SIPG or Shenyang? Not Shenyang, it must be
SIPG.
SIPG, yeah. Okay. So the first round of games sees Ulsan travelling to Melbourne. What do you think? Korean teams in Australia, other than FC Seoul, don't normally do that well, really, do they?
Don't know that Seoul have done particularly well.
They haven't done that bad against Western Sydney Wanderers in their travels.
They've drawn one. Well, I think they've won 1, drawn 1, lost 1.
Yeah, that's better than losing all 3, right?
And then beat Central Coast.
Yeah. Okay. So Melbourne, Ulsan prediction.
Melbourne are in the middle of their season at the moment. Ulsan I've not seen any particularly good results from them in the pre-season, so I'm going to stick Melbourne to win 2-0.
Okay, I'm going to say 2-1. I'm going to say Ulsan will score. The other game is Kawasaki versus Shanghai. Don't know anything about those teams, but I'm going to say, given Urawa last year, the Japanese teams it's the way that it generally works. If I remember right, is Gamba were brilliant. Next year, Japanese teams didn't care. Urawa were fantastic, so I'm going to say Japanese teams will be terrible this year.
Okay.
So I'm going to say Shanghai will beat Kawasaki.
Hulk to score a hat-trick.
Hulk to score a hat-trick, yeah. And I still stick by the fact that I think Ulsan will be really struggling to get out of that group.
Okay.
I think we said that last week, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, next up we have John Book welcoming Kashiwa Reso to town. And we have Kichi, who hopefully will have time to speak to Christy Lung next week, hopefully, who'll tell us a little bit more about Kichi. They are travelling to Tianjin.
Okay.
What do you think of that one?
Kichi? I assume they'll get hammered.
Yeah, you couldn't imagine they'll get hammered in all their away games, but probably maybe okay in their home games, right? Who knows?
We'll see.
We'll see, yeah. John Boy versus Kashiwa, will you be going?
No.
I'm going to check out the buses and times and see if it's possible. To get back, getting down there is easy enough, but getting back is always a big problem, right?
Yeah.
Because I have heard the rumour that there's a bus stop right outside the stadium, but having...
Okay, the way
I've only ever went there on the Songnam bus, so I don't actually know if that's true.
The way it works is, I think the long distance buses stop on match days,
right?
Especially.
So they stop outside the stadium, not stop running.
No, they stop outside the stadium. Yeah. Okay.
So I guess I can check with Matt Binns. See if Matt knows.
He'll not know. He doesn't go to matches.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But for me, John Book Kashiwa, I'm going to go for 2-0 victory, an Adriano and a Thiago goal.
I'm going to go for a score draw.
Score draw?
Yep.
Okay, sweet. Why?
Just because I don't fancy John Book this year. I think they're going to be terrible. Too many changes. Too many new cogs in the machine.
Okay. There is a lot of new cogs in the machine.
And Incheon is a destabilising influence.
And moving on to the next two groups, we have Suwon Blue Wings are in the group with Sydney, Kashima and Shanghai. The first game is Suwon travelling to Sydney.
Yep.
How are Sydney doing right now in the A-League?
They're running away with it last time I checked. Miles and miles clear.
That's going to be a tough one then for the Blue Wings, right? A tough start.
I think they'll be lucky to get away with a point. I expect them to get hammered, to be honest.
Okay, sees big Matt German travelling home.
Yep.
Think you'll get a hero's welcome?
Maybe.
I can see you give a whole lot of a care about that, Paul.
I never know whether because the players that come to the K-League from the A-League, they're mostly names I'm not familiar with, so I'm not sure if they're like heroes back home or not, if they're just unknown players who are...
I mean, he's just made the Australian international team, so he's a pretty big name now, I guess. So again, I'm imagining he'll get a bit of a hero's welcome unless he scores a hat-trick. Okay. The other game in that group sees Shanghai travel to Japan to play Kashima Antlers.
Home win, probably.
I'm going to go with a draw in that one.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with a home win for Sydney and a draw in the other one.
Okay.
And I think a really bad start for the Blue Wings.
Okay.
In a group that's already really tough, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the final group involving the Korean team is obviously Jeju's group.
Yeah.
Jeju are at home to Sarazo Osaka.
Yep.
And in another game, Buriram travelled to China to play the Galacticos of Asia, Guangzhou Evergrande.
Yeah. You've got to imagine that's going to be a home win for Guangzhou.
Yeah, definitely.
Jeju, Cerezo, I'm going to go for a score draw.
Yeah, I'll agree with you in a score draw. I think had we done a pre-run of this, I would probably have said Jeju home win. But I think probably I can see a draw with this one, I think.
So I've got a question for you. Good friend of the podcast, Tommy. He's a Sydney FC fan.
Mm-hmm.
He's been known to go to matches and boo Suwon. Will he be doing that this time around?
I can find out for you. I'm going to try and get him on the podcast after this game, so he can talk about what it was like if he went and so on. Yeah.
Because he's now based in Melbourne, right?
Yeah.
So he may go along to the Melbourne Ulsan.
Yeah.
So you done a really poor job of predicting my questions.
So my idea is to get him on the podcast after it. At some point after the first round, just to kind of talk about those games, how he felt about being back in a stadium if he went with Korean fans. Yeah.
Okay. While we're talking about Australian players, last week we had a mystery player.
We did.
He'd been announced he'd been moved to the K-League, but wasn't sure where. Now it's confirmed that, as we suspected, he's gone to Incheon.
He has indeed, yeah.
They've also signed another foreigner.
Yeah, they seem to sign two in really quick succession, right?
Yeah.
Two in the last couple of days. So yeah, the first guy, he's coming in from, I'm going to say from Central Coast Mariners, right?
Yeah.
And then the second guy, I don't really know that much about, other than that he seems to be. So the Australian guy, if you look at his FIFA 18 stats, first of all, he's supposed to be really quick. Apparently, his pace is 91, which is kind of like pretty good, with a fantastic shooting score of 42. Yeah. So he's obviously going to run at defences and then fall over his own feet.
Yeah.
So that is Kwabena Apaya, who has come over, and the other signing he's a Montenegrin. His name is Stefan Mugoza.
Yeah.
Which I don't think people know not that much about, but I think he's got 18 caps for the Montenegrin team. So yeah, that would be an interesting, again, another kind of interesting move.
And Songnam also signed a player this week.
We did indeed. We signed ex-Pohang midfielder Murala.
As confirmed first on his personal SNS. I don't know which one it was.
Yeah, some guy was texting him and said, "How's things? Are you coming back to Korea?" And he went, "Yeah, for Songnam." He's already changed his Facebook page to be his Songnam shirt, and already done an interview with Brazilian media to explain why he moved to Songnam to fight, to battle, to get them back into the K-League Classic, or the K1 as it's now known.
Talking about that league, there was a little bit of shenanigans potentially between Puchon and the Chinese team in the Korean prefecture of China, Yanbian Thunder. Yeah,
to be honest, I don't even know the background to this or what really happened, but it would seem that Puchon signed the player. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then
they signed him like couple of years ago out of school, right? So he grew up in Korea, and then he moved to sort of that area of China and attended a like Harbin Sports Academy or something like that. But he never signed any kind of professional terms with them, and then he signed for Puchon, and now the Chinese team are saying, well, actually, he was our player.
Yeah, and you need to pay his money.
Yeah.
At very least a development fee, right? Is what they're asking for.
Right. So I guess we'll have to see how that progresses.
But a little bit of a strange one. Equally strange was the guy who signed for the Busan team in the K3.
Yeah.
Am I right saying that? Who is in loan from Gwangju Evergrande?
Yeah, under 23.
Yeah.
So that's very odd.
It's very odd.
But good luck to him. And good luck to them.
He didn't sign for Busan, he signed for Busan something. Speaking of Busan, just really quickly, speaking of Busan, they launched an initiative this week aimed directly, I guess, at foreign English teachers living in the Busan area. So just to give them a little bit of a promotion here, to say if you want to go along and be part of the international marketing team, you'll get an official badge that gets you into all the games. You'll get official merchandise from the club, and when you leave, you can officially put on your resume that you were working in international marketing and data and analytics for a football club, which could therefore benefit you in the future. What do you think of that as an idea? Is that something that you would want to see FC Seoul doing in terms of getting foreigners? Because obviously Seoul is a huge amount of foreigners, right?
It's something I do anyway as part of my job, because I get to co-organise the FC Seoul Foreigners Day each year. So to some degree, I'm kind of doing international marketing, and I'd like to say I get paid for it, but they're not being paid for it anyway, are they?
Yeah, but would you want them to put it out there for like random, English teachers or wherever, or foreigners and so would come along and kind of get involved in that sort of thing? Do you think it's something that would benefit FC Seoul and the K-League in general?
I think it has potential, but you run the risk that you get someone like Scotty Bluewings volunteering at FC Seoul and deliberately trying to cock it all up.
I never thought about that actually. I really hope he applies. Okay, sweet. Okay, I guess today, as always, we'll have our winners and losers of the week.
But just before we get into that, we need to talk about a couple of quick kit releases, because I have a feeling that one or two of them may be involved in our winners and losers of the week. Okay,
so first up we had Ulsan, who revealed their kit. I don't know if listeners would remember, a couple of years ago we actually blogged about Ulsan, the Ulsan kit at the time being more Suwon than Suwon.
Yep.
This year they decided to move away from the more Suwon than Suwon and become more Incheon than Incheon. And more Argentina than Argentina.
Yeah.
So their away strip is the Argentina strip, and their home strip is the Inter Milan stroke Incheon United strip.
And it's got Tiger features embroidered in it or embossed on it?
I didn't look at it that closely. I just looked at it and went, Argentina and Inter Milan.
And a yellow collar, did I see?
Oh, maybe.
They put out a whole press release trying to extolling the virtues of the shirt. But
yeah, I mean, what do you think about it, first of all?
As you know, I'm only interested in FC Seoul and waiting for them to release their kit. So
I'm still waiting on the Songnam one coming out as well, so I can complete the classic blog post.
It didn't look too bad. I think it looked quite nice. So
yeah, it looks okay actually. It looked actually better than the second team that released their kit this week, which was in actual fact Incheon himself, who one day early released the press release. So I don't know if you remember last year, Incheon launched their press kit in one of those gay exchange promotion videos from the 1980s. It was like 5 guys sitting around in a locker looking at each other.
Yeah.
So this year they decided to launch one day early with the tagline of Incheon, the anchor of the K-League, which is kind of ironic because they're always at the bottom.
Yeah, they're always on the bottom.
So
dragging everything else down.
Something tells you that's not quite what Incheon meant by the use of the term anchor. It turned out that was not the only marketing PR faux pas from the boys. When they released the kit, which isn't actually bad looking, to be honest.
It's got stripes on the front and a Newcastle United style solid back, hasn't it?
But it's kind of okay looking.
Yep.
But their tagline under the kind of the sponsor or the main name logo, I don't know if it's actually a sponsor, underneath it says always Incheon, but not always Incheon, always Incheon. Which, if you think about when FC Seoul play them, they literally do them always.
I guess we always say that when Korean companies release marketing slogans like they should get them reviewed by an English language native speaker. Yeah. And I guess in this case they have, just not a very good one.
Or they have, but it was a Seoul fan who said, "Yeah, we do you always, Incheon." So I'm assuming they meant always Incheon and not always Incheon. Yeah.
I don't know. You could argue either way, but you're probably right.
Yep. Also, it would be amiss of us not to mention K-League United founder Ryan and his utter pleasure at the launch of the Jeonnam kit this week, which looked okay until they put a massive POSCO 50 years of right across the front, which just looks like the worst sponsor I've ever seen in my life.
The way the 50's designed, it looks like a sort of 1980s graphic design for a pair of bollocks hanging there.
Can we say that on the podcast?
Just did.
Okay. And I think finally, in terms of kits, we had POSCO released. Well, POSCO, that Pohang even released theirs, and they named it after. Sorry, I find this funny. They named it after parts that are famous, things that are famous with Pohang. So we had like the cooler room, the melting pot, and then a yellow goalkeeping kit, which was like, I don't know, something to do with like yellow surrender tanks or something. It should be said, I actually quite like the goalkeeping kit, and if it wasn't for the fact that I'd have to go to Pohang to actually buy one, I might actually buy one.
But did you see the Incheon goalkeeping kits?
I didn't know, I didn't see it actually.
You know, if you've been to FC Seoul, they were selling replica kits. I think our goalkeepers are kind of like a pale turquoise and a pink.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Incheon goalkeeping kits this year.
So,
Incheon or Jeonnam. Anyway, one of the teams that released a kit this week is basically using that for their goalkeeping kit this year.
The exact same?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's only so many designs you can do, right? And there's only so many brands now out there, because I think didn't Adidas pull the plug in all K-League?
I think so,
Adidas, right?
So there's a lot of Hummels this year.
There's a lot of Hummels, yeah. But if anyone can source me a Pohang goalkeeping top without me having to go to Pohang to get one, unless they draw Songnam in the cup, then please let me know. I'll be happy to pay for it.
But as we said, our clubs haven't released their kits just yet.
Not yet.
So we probably shouldn't be too smug or too taking the mickey out of other teams, because
I'm still pretty smug.
We don't know what kind of monstrosity we'll end up with.
Well, I mean, you're probably something by the Coq Sportif. I mean, anyone who's enough said, at least we have Umbro, who have released pretty damn decent kits for the last couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Okay, at least the one thing that we do know is that Seoul won't be releasing a kit with a special collar this year. No need, no ECL. Anyway, so that brings us on to the final part of tonight, which is our winners and losers. You alluded that maybe your winner or loser might be one of the kits that was released. So let's fire in straight away. Who is your loser of the week, pal?
My loser of the week is Incheon for their miss slogan, shall we say? Their miss slogan, okay.
My loser of the week is going to be. I really want to say Incheon for that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to say my loser of the week is going to be Kim Shin-wook.
Okay.
Because no matter how much he's trying, no matter how much he's throwing everything at it, he's not going to get a starting lineup when it comes to the World Cup.
Okay.
Unless Son Heung-min suffers food poisoning from a bad Tottenham donut or something.
Okay. And your winner?
My winner of the week has to be Songnam. I think after a horrendous close season where we seemed to sell everyone, I think to bring in a guy like Morala and to have the best kit that's not been released so far makes us the winner.
Where's the money come from?
I don't know. You tell me.
Okay.
I have no idea. I know the budget things are still in negotiation, but yeah, I think that's still you bring a guy who's been a Pohang for the last couple of years to Songnam is pretty big, I think.
Okay.
And we look at the last guy that we brought from Pohang, he wasn't too bad. So.
Okay, my winner of the week is, well, I want to say good friend of the podcast, Paul Neat.
Okay.
Because I thought he was playing for Latvia at the weekend. I turned on the TV and his face was staring at me from the screen. I thought, what?
It does help when you're like 6 bottles of soju in that any white guy with a beard looks like Paul Neat.
Did you see the photo?
I did actually.
Do you think it looks like him or not?
Fair play, I did.
Yeah.
It did actually look like him.
The actual one on TV, like he's obviously checked. The photo was a couple of months old. I don't know when, but. When I saw him on TV, it was much more similar, but I couldn't find a still of the guy from the match.
I mean, I'll give you that one. It did look quite like him. Because when you were first tweeting it, it was right in the middle of a whole bunch of Sheffield Wednesday tweets, and I wasn't really sure what was going on there.
Yeah.
That's why I don't actually use the podcast account when Celtic are losing. To be honest, yeah. But I guess before we move on, big news. Big Mick McCarthy might be heading to Barnsley.
To Barnsley.
So I heard. Apparently going back home, whatever that means.
Assuming he must be from there.
I'm assuming so, yeah. So, not sure if that's nothing to do with Kierig. I just when we mentioned Sheffield Wednesday there, yeah.
Who are playing Barnsley this weekend.
Well, there you go. That's a little bit of a marketing promotion for you.